If you are sitting there wondering if this person is in it for the long haul, like, is this your person? Or is this the type of person that's just gonna bring another lesson? Like, I know where you're at, where you're like, please just let this be the one. I am so sick and tired of putting myself back out there time and time again just to teach me another lesson, if you will. I'm tired of it and I want to find my person. Listen, I got you. This is the episode for you. We're gonna dive into it. Let's hop into the episode. Welcome or welcome back to another episode of Way Too Wifey. I'm your host, respectfully Gabby, and in this podcast, we talk all things dating and relationships in this modern day. And if you are new here, hi, I'm Gabby. I'm an online dating coach where I help you transform your confidence to live your best lives inside and outside of relationships. You guys, we dive deep into attachment issues, especially anxious attachment. We get to the bottom of those core wounds of abandonment wounds and why you feel that anxiety, why you keep showing up as this anxious mess in relationship. We get to the bottom of it so you can date better, so you can attract the best partner for you in the most healed version of you. So if you've ever been curious about it, please hit the stand link in my bio. There are tons of options you can choose from. If you've been watching this podcast for a while, or if you're new here, please, I would highly, highly appreciate it if you hit that 5-star rating, turn on your bell notifications, subscribe to the channel. It really does help get the word out there. It helps me continue with this podcast. So if you haven't done so already, now is the time. Pause the podcast, come back. It takes 2 seconds. And I promise you, the love that you put out there is all of the love that you will come and circle back into your life. So anyway, let's hop into it. Guys, I am still here in Dubai. I'm actually kind of warming up to it. I'm going out this weekend with some girlfriends, and it's been chaos this past week. I have been the most anxious version of myself, and I realized I was taking a little gander, a step back, and I was looking at how far my life has come in the past year. And trust me, this relates to the episode. So I was looking at the progress from my past year. Where was I last October, do you ask? I decided at that moment that I was going to change directions. I spent 2 months in London, and it started off October, November of last year. I decided, like, fuck the US. I'm out. I'm going to just chill in London for a while. So I spent 2 months in London. During my time there, I met someone who honestly rocked my world. Like, it sent my whole world upside down. It was chaos. I was so sure. Like, I remember meeting this guy and, like, immediately thinking, holy shit, this is my person. Like, this is everything that I've wanted in a person. This is exactly what I want. It really rocked my world for months on end, even after things stopped, because I was thinking, I know this is it. I know that this has to be my person. Like, this is the only logical thing. And if you've been following along, you may remember this story. If not, let me just give you a brief overview of what happened. It was the most magical story of how we met. We both had our Hinge locations in London, but both ended up flying on the exact same flight. Ironically, it was like the next day. I was like, oh my God, what airline are you flying? And we were on the same airline and taking the same flight out from Miami to London. So we met in the airport. We basically had our first date in the airport, and we ended up sitting together throughout the whole flight, and we had a whole row to ourselves, and we talked basically the entire 8 hours, maybe got like 1 hour of sleep. And then, like, that night he took me out for dinner, and 3 weeks we spent together. It was actually perfect. Like, I couldn't ask for better. We almost saw each other basically every single day. Everything was going really well until we had the conversation about me leaving London, and then it basically all crumbled down from there. And he's like, I can't keep investing my time and energy if you're not going to be here full time. The longest time I had, like, made it my mission to get to London, and not necessarily for him, but I just love London in general. He came in and out during that time period, slowly, here and there. Really, really, really messed me up for a while. Threw me off my game. I also wasn't in a space where I was dating actively in my area when I was in Tampa. So it was like I had nothing else to focus on besides, oh my God, I have to make this work. I have to get back to London. I'm saying all of this because for some reason, every October, and this might be the same case in you, but every October, there's someone that comes into my life. And I've noticed, just off of my clients talk about it, based off of my friends talking about it, there is significant relationship dynamics that happen in October. For whatever reason, okay, my spiritual side is about to come out this episode. I think when the eclipse season happens, which we just passed, by the way, that's why I was so anxious, I think, this week. When that happens, there is some kind of soulmate or karmic relationship that comes into your life. And if you don't know what that is, if you're not spiritual, please stay with me for a second, because it's bigger than just like the spiritual, like you can look at it in a different way, right? So the soulmate being the person that you, I'm referring to as the person you end up with or that's in your life for a long time. Whereas personally, I use the term soulmate loosely because I do think that people have multiple soulmates that are there to help us grow in certain ways. I think some of them aren't romantic. I think some of them are platonic, that are just in your life for a reason to help you elevate and help you grow as a person. But if you're like, Gabby, I am not buying into the whole soulmate thing. Okay, fine. There are deep connections in your life that you have throughout your life that feel different than most, right? Okay, we can be on the same page about that. Whereas a karmic relationship, which I 100% think the last guy that I met last year was a karmic relationship for me that I needed to learn from. And I did. And I am glad that he came into my life. I'm really happy about the lessons that I've learned from him, but I think the karmic relationships are there to teach you a lesson. And say you don't believe in karmic relationships, the whole spiritual side of things, I get that, but relate that to the people that come into your life, cause a little chaos, cause a little friction. You are completely off of your game from this person. They're meant to teach you something. Think of it like this. They're either there for a lifetime or they're there to teach you a lesson of some sort. I think we can pretty much all agree, at least on that. If the terms are throwing you off, just know that they're either, this connection is there in your life for a reason. Either that's a long-term growth partnership, or that person is just there to teach you some sort of lesson. I think it's really easy to get caught up in that karmic relationship where you feel so drawn to that person, you feel so like connected, and you feel so deeply that that is your person. You can't be told otherwise. If anyone was like, do you see how they're treating you, or you're not the same person that you were before, how can you open your eyes? And then maybe you're losing friends over it, but you are so drawn to this person and they give you this high ecstasy like feeling that you need them to survive in a way. For me, I've had a few of these in my life. There's people that were brought into my life, and now looking back, I'm like, I can't even be bothered. I don't even know why I found them attractive. I think sometimes these people come into your life there's usually some kind of theme that goes on throughout your life that you need to wake up to, whether that's to teach you some sort of boundaries, or to teach you to love yourself more, or to teach you what you don't want in a relationship, how you don't want to feel in a relationship, to teach you to stand up for yourself. Whatever the lesson is, there is something that you can take away from every single relationship in your life, whether that's sticking up for myself or whatever the case is, okay? Wherever you're lacking that confidence in the relationship has a lot to do with what you need to work on and what you need to heal. So yes, this person came in and shook up your life, and now you're left sometimes years later picking up the pieces from this person. And trust me, I have been there, and I have had so many friends that have had their worlds rocked by the wrong person, and it hurts, it stings. You're like, why? Like, this has to be it. Sabotaging other relationships because it's not the person that you want it to be. You get so consumed by the wrong person because you still need to heal the things that you refuse to heal from that relationship. I've noticed this with tons of my friends actually and tons of my clients. That person, whatever you are drawn to about that karmic person, they're going to either keep coming back into your life, or there's going to be another person that comes in that is exactly like that person that you feel so drawn to because you've yet to learn the lesson that you need to from them. I can tell you right now, that person who came into my life last year was there to teach me to stick up for myself, to speak for myself, to set firm boundaries with myself and with others. I was lacking a ton of boundaries. I wasn't getting done what I needed to. I was putting all of my things on the back burner because I wanted to hang out with him and I wanted to be around him. But in reality, it wasn't benefiting me because yes, I would see him, but when I wasn't with him, I would be anxious. I was so anxious to the point where I could not, for the life of me, even focus on what I needed to focus on, my work, my podcast, my coaching. Like, I could not focus on anything else because I'm like, is he going to text me? Like, it was so good for 2 weeks. And then after that 2 weeks, I became an anxious mess because he started to pull away because I was leaving. And he was like, I need to redirect my energy. And he wasn't as clear that he just wanted to end things. He was just like, let me take a step back. So it threw me off a lot. Sometimes we need to learn those hard lessons the hard way and put ourselves in those karmic relationships in order to learn and to grow. But until you are like, I'm good on this, I'm not doing this anymore, I'm fine, that's when the person that is meant to stay in your life for the long haul will step in. Life tends to give you lessons. I think life throws at you these people, these lessons that you need to learn. And then once you elevate and you walk away when you need to, or you decide, you know what, I'm not putting up with this, I'm going to set some firm boundaries, I'm going to stand up for myself, I'm confident enough to do that. That's when that connection either works because you decided to make the steps to protect yourself, or they end up going away. With them going away, that space that you just opened up brings in someone who's actually meant for you. Let's talk about how to tell if this person is really in it for the long haul, or if it's just like a karmic partner where, or just a lesson, let's say. For me, I've noticed when these big lessons come into my life, it's an immediate connection. I feel so drawn to them. I feel like I have to have them. The TikTok sound. I love this man and I have to have him. I felt super drawn, and then all of a sudden we'll get very, very anxious. I feel like I couldn't speak up for myself. I feel like all of my needs and desires kind of shifted to the back burner. The way you know that this person's really in it for the long haul, though, is can you speak up for yourself without fearing that they're going to actually walk away? Can you set firm boundaries? Is this person really interested in you? Sometimes I think maybe in the past for me, because I think I grew out of this lesson, but sometimes in the past, lesson that I needed to learn at the time, having someone as interested as I am in them as they are in me, and having that mutual beneficial, like mutual interest going on, where I feel like a lot of the guys that I attracted in the past were guys that never asked me any questions about myself, never really cared to listen to my problems or asked about how I was feeling, or really wanted to understand me and my goals, like nothing. He didn't really care. All he cared about was that I was giving my nurturing self over to him. I was giving him basically whatever he needed, and I would hear him out. I would listen to him, and I attracted a lot of those dynamics because who wouldn't want to be around someone where they can open up, they can feel comfortable around, they can have everything catered to for them. But what am I getting out of this situation? I'm getting anxiety. I'm getting the feeling that I can't talk about anything about myself. I'm feeling drained every single time I go home. Really, really think about this. How do you feel after this person leaves? Because that will tell you so much. It's not about how they make you feel when you're together, because I can guarantee you a karmic relationship or a soulmate is going to feel amazing when you are together, but how do you feel away from them? Is that nagging feeling like something doesn't feel right, something feels off, something is you're having a little bit of resentment for like the things you're not speaking up about, or a little bit of resentment for like they talked about themselves the entire time we were together. Like, yes, I enjoyed the time together because I'm a great time, but they talked about themselves nonstop. They didn't ask a single question about me. Anyway, it could be anything. Really, how do you feel when you're away from them? That is really going to be telling on if this person is really meant to stay on the long haul. If that person is very interested back in you, they're open to hearing your thoughts, emotions. They give you a safe space to explore your opinions, and they're open-minded about how you feel and what you bring to the table. That is someone that is meant to stay in your life long term. And even think about this from a friend perspective, because I do think that all relationships are meant to teach us something. They come into our lives. It's so funny. I feel like friend dating is kind of the similar as like actual dating in real life, but I've been friend dating a lot more because I just got to Dubai. Certain friends that are like girls that I've met here already, I'm like, something is off. When I sat down in certain circumstances, when I sat down, now I'm very cautious and aware of it. But I think before, when I was making friends in like Miami, let's say, I did not realize, I'm like, okay, well, I'm lonely and I need someone to hang out with, so hanging out with someone is better than not hanging out with anyone. But now I'm much more aware, and I think that I know that I can make friends pretty easily, so I'm like, I don't care to waste my time and energy on someone that doesn't make me feel good. And it doesn't have to be any particular reason. If you feel off, something's got to give. For instance, I hung out with this one girl, and really nothing was wrong. Like, there's nothing wrong with her. There's nothing about her that I don't like. But I didn't like how I felt in our energy. Getting to that point of that level where you're like so in tune with how you're feeling when you're around that person. First of all, if you're feeling that way when you're around that person and you feel so comfortable when you're not with them, that's telling as well. Not just the fact that how do you feel when you're away from them. Because this girl that I was hanging out with, when we did hang out, as soon as I sat down, like energetically, I was like, I can't wait till this is over. I really want to go home. I really want to get home. I don't want to be here. And it wasn't any particular reason. Like, there's nothing wrong with her, guys. But energetically, I'm like, something's off. I don't want to be here. And so when I went home, I'm just like, yeah, I think I'm okay on this one. Really, really, really listen to how you're feeling with them, first and foremost. If you don't feel good with them, clear indication that's not it. And then if you don't feel right when you're without them, that's also a really big indication. If you feel anxious, does this person even like me? Do they blah, blah, blah. Even with friendships, I think I don't really stress out too much with friendships just because it's ingrained that I know that I can make other friendships. And I think I've gotten to that point with men now. I'm like, if this doesn't work out, there's going to be someone that comes along that's much better. Like, that's just the attitude that I have towards dating now. But how do you feel when you're with them? How do you feel when you're away from them? Because these are really, really telling signs that something might not be right. I can tell you long term, the friendships that I've had that have lasted and have been like golden, like I know that I can turn to this person for anything, have been the type of people where when I'm with them, it is such a good time. We're riding this high, like we're both having a good time. We're both vibing, laughing. And then when we're away, it's just like, it's comfortable. It doesn't feel like, oh my God, do they hate me? Are they, just overthinking, like, did I say something or did I do something wrong? That feeling is not fun. I feel like any relationship that's really meant to last in your life and that will last in your life is when you feel comfortable when you are with them and comfortable when you're away from them. That is a secure relationship. Okay. I'm just saying, since it is the start of October, be prepared for someone to probably come into your life. I feel like this month, if you've noticed, even go back to last October, maybe look at your old text messages or old pictures from that time. I can almost guarantee you had some kind of significant shift in your life during this time. For some reason, October is like such a shifting month. Go back and look. Tell me I'm not right. Leave in the comments if you have experienced the same kind of dynamic. And I'm actually really curious to hear, because this is my theory. This is my what I've been hearing on astrology TikTok. If you're not into that, just look at what happened the past couple Octobers in your life and tell me that this isn't true. Anyway, that is it for this week's episode, and I hope you enjoyed. I hope you got some kind of value out of this, and if you did, please leave that 5-star rating, hit that subscribe button, turn on your bell notifications so you'll never miss another episode. I love you all. I'll see you next Tuesday.